So, welcome back to another fanfiction idea that was Patreon voted on. And as always, if you guys like to be part of these Patreon polls, as well as check out what's going on Patreon, I just finished my last episode review of Alien Earth. So if you want to check that out, just hit the link in the description box below. And head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so to check out with the episode reviews and polls and whatnot. But yeah, other than that, hope you all enjoy this, and let's get started. So this fanfiction idea is kind of going with the horror trend of... sorry, I was looking at the calendar for some reason. I was just like, what day is it again? Anyway, so this is part of the whole fanfiction idea stuff I've been doing, where it's been horror-adjacent stuff. So it's a horror element with another horror element. And you guys and everyone voted on Patreon. So for this, we're getting it was supposed to be an X-Files crossover, which, by the way, the next Q&A I'm going to be doing is going to be centered around X-Files as well. So if you want to be part of that, hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, the whole shebang. Anyway, so the horror poll for X-Files crossover, and this one basically won by a good mile, and that is The Thing. Not Ben Grimm Thing. I'm talking John Carpenter's The Thing. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So the story begins with Mulder and Scully basically getting a message to come out to an Arctic research facility that was built on top of a research facility that mysteriously went up in flames back in 1982. Essentially, no one really knows what happened, what started the fire, and what happened to the rest of the of the people that were staff there. No one knows what happened. The communications went dark during a blizzard, and it was believed that there was like either maintenance damage or someone went stir crazy, because none of it was really adding up. A lot of it was just kind of like a lot of bizarre coincidences, and like a lot of bizarre like the dogs were found dead. The machinery was found tampered with. Something never added up, but the place was rebuilt, and there's been no real problems up until now. So Mulder and Scully are called in because the research facility is the new research facility staff has basically found something in the ice, and one of the members is a former colleague of Scully's. So they were like, hey, hey, Scully, I kind of need your help on this, so it'd be real nice if you just came down and helped out with this matter, because, this is weird. So Mulder and Scully head down to Antarctica, and they're just like, Mulder's like, did they say whatever it was? Like, did they, I've heard stories about this base, the 82 incident, and Scully just, in her typical fashion, is, her whole thing is, her whole skeptic fashion is that, no, like, hey, whatever happened here, it's not the way you think it is. It's not aliens, Mulder. It was just someone went crazy during the storm. So Mulder's like, we'll see. So they go inside and they meet the rest of the crew. They meet the rest of the staff there, and they're brought to. They were basically talking about we like you probably already know, we were built on top of the 82 of the Arctic base from 82, and we were basically expanding the base further, and what we found was something buried in the ice, and it was really weird. And they're like, well, what do you define weird? Like, honestly, define weird. Like, what else? What could it be? So they show them this huge block of ice with like something in there, and they're like, is that a man? And they're like, we don't know. Like, they are quite literally like, we honestly do not know what this is, but but a human, it probably isn't. So Scully is like, well, I'm gonna have to we're gonna have to break it open and see what it is, and everyone's like, yeah, we don't feel comfortable with that. Like a lot of and Scully's just like, so you called me down, you called Mulder and I down here for nothing, and they're like, yeah, we did call you down, but then we were kind of getting this bad feeling on the way here, so maybe when there's a blizzard coming in, so maybe you can turn around and we'll just have this sent with you so you can study it in a more controlled space at FBI headquarters. And she's like, okay, that'll work. Bunch of cowards. So later that night, everyone's just kind of like getting ready for the blizzard when they hear like ice breaking. There's just like this boom of ice, and whatever was in there, it's gone. Like it is whatever it was has straight up flown the coop. And Mulder's like, oh, that's concerning. So whatever it was has broken out and is now like walked out of here. And the concerning thing is they look at the footprints on the ground of like the ice, and it looked almost like a creature like, and then it's slowly becoming like human feet. And they're like, what's up with that? So there's like, well, then they find like someone's clothes torn up in the corner, and everyone was like, well, who was down here looking at the thing? Like who basically had come down here to like look at this? Like, was it you, Mulder? Was it you, Scully? And they're like, everyone's pointing fingers, and then they hear like alarms go off. Sure enough, some like they head out, like everyone runs out, and they discover that someone has tampered with the radio comms, and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? There's something very wrong, like something is going completely wrong here, and everyone's getting scared. Like everyone's legit getting scared about the whole situation, because now it's like something's going wrong. And one of the staff members is like, hey, so there was another thing we found buried in the ice alongside it, and we're surprised it still worked. In the ashes of this base, and it's like an old tape recorder from one of the staff members, the pilot, R.J. McCready. We never found him, or Childs. They were the two people who were missing. We found all like the remnants of what we thought were the bodies of everyone else, but Childs and McCready were never found. But we did find this recording, and it was just weird. We thought it was just like symptoms of like blizzard madness or something. So they hear the recordings that McCready had left behind, and they're like torn clothes, and they're like, what? So there's something they found in the ice, and it's scary, and this thing can take on human form. So they're like listening to the other recordings that McCready had left behind, and they're basically like, okay, this thing needs contact, like physical contact, whatever it is. And Scully's like, Mulder, this is insane. Like, it's got to be like some kind of sabotage. I do agree there is some kind of sabotage going on, but like aliens, really? Like it can't. Like there's no way it's aliens, right? Like, I do agree there's a saboteur, maybe like a Russian agent or something like that. But alien, no. And then they're like, well, that sounds like something that would hide as human. And Mulder's like, she wouldn't do that. And they're like, well, about you both? What if it got to both of you? You weren't, maybe Mr. Agent Mulder here got too close to whatever it was. So they all start bickering, and then Mulder's just like draws his gun, fires in the air, and is just like, all right, we're gonna play a little game called whose blood is whose. So after listening to one of McCready's notes, he realized this thing is like a separate entity every around, so it probably like defend itself. So they're like, well, we're gonna find out who's who, and yeah. So I'm gonna have everyone tie themselves up, and Scully's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen, Mulder. He's like, sorry, Scully, I can't even trust you right now. And he's like, can we even trust you? And he's like, I'll do the test myself. Cuts himself and touches the blood, and they're like, okay. So he does Scully next. Scully is that, and there's like a moment of hesitation from Mulder, because he's worried if this is not her anymore. So he hits it. It's her, and he's like, all right, untie yourself. You can do the examination on everyone else. So they're going through blood until one of the creatures pops up and everyone starts freaking out. It is Scully's colleague that had called them in, and just starts like transforming and twisting, and Scully's just like, holy shit. Mulder's just like, get a flame. You guys got flamethrowers or something? Like, yeah, we use it to clear out the ice. We'll get them now. So they come running in. Mulder and Scully just grab flamethrowers as this thing is like starts twisting and forming and like trying to like eats one, just starts absorbing one of the other crew members. That Mulder and Scully just blast the thing, and it starts roaring and it just starts roaring and freaking out, and then takes off into the ice, into the frozen north of Antarctica as the blizzard's raging. Mulder, of course, is like, we can't, like, that thing, we need to kill that, make sure that thing is dead. So Mulder, Scully's like, wait, Mulder, no. So Mulder chases after it deep into the cold, but he can't find it. He can't find the thing. He does see, like, in the distance, things still, like, burning, but eventually the blizzard is just, like, absorbing all, just all-consuming, and Mulder's forced to, like, trudge back before he freezes to death. So, by the end of it, after the storm passes, they're just like, well, we don't know how to report this, it's impossible to tell, but, you know, at least there was only one. So they tell Mulder and Scully, like, hey, you know, we'll try to report this best we can. You guys go back to headquarters and like FBI headquarters. We'll tell them what you saw. But as they're going back, like when they hit the FBI headquarters, because Mulder's like on cloud 9 thinking like, we finally got an alien, and they're like, it was a Russian tampering agent. What are you talking about, Mulder? And they're like, what? That wasn't what? Oh no. One of them was still the thing. So now no one believes Mulder and Scully's encounter, and there's still another one of those things among the crew. But which one? Because they stopped doing the test because they thought it was just the one. It replicated multiple times. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much the X-Files thing crossover. I want to thank everyone who voted for this one, and hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.